And welcome back to Las Vegas as USA is ready to take on Puerto Rico tonight. The similarities between the preparation for the FIBA World Championship and the preparation for the Athens Olympics in 04 is remarkable. The first exhibition game is against Puerto Rico, and when they get to Japan to open play, they'll open against Puerto Rico.
Jim, the exact same scenario that we experienced in Athens in the preparation. The starting lineups tonight for Puerto Rico: Carlos Arroyo, the Orlando Magic point guard, with a tremendous cast around him.
Featuring Elias Ayuso, Antonio Latimer at the forward spot, joined by Carmelo Anthony at the other, and Daniel Santiago, another NBA player in the middle. Chris Paul and Dwayne Wade in the backcourt for the USA. LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony are the forwards, and Chris Bosh starting at center. Pressure defense, coast to coast. That's the setting that Mike Krzyzewski has for his club.
In the meetings that we've had with the coaching staff, the executives, the players, they all talk about how this team is going to play in waves. They are going to take advantage of the full 12-man roster. They have 14 right now that still needs to be cut down, but the intensity of Mike Krzyzewski has worn off, and the cohesiveness, the togetherness, the camaraderie that we've heard about, we've read about, we've witnessed it, it is all for real. And now it's time for the explosion of LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, and the rest of Team USA.
You know, we should mention, Bill, that Amari Stoudemire has left the team. The feeling was that he really needs to do more rehabbing and trying to get back from the knee injuries to get ready for the upcoming NBA season for the Suns.
Amari Stoudemire is not here at Thomas & Mack in Las Vegas today. He left this afternoon to go back to Phoenix. He needs to spend more time in rehab, get the confidence back. But with the story of USA losing ground to the rest of the world, 92 Olympics undefeated, the 96 Olympics undefeated, the 2000 Olympics coached in Australia by Rudy Tomjanovic undefeated, and then the Worlds in Indianapolis, 3 losses, the Olympics in Athens, 3 losses as well. A remarkable turn of events. The rest of the world has caught up, but things were not right with those teams that were representing this country.
In fact, the United States went from 92 to 02, 53-0 in international play, and since then they've gone 21-6. And it's Puerto Rico controlling the tap, and this is Arroyo, Carlos Arroyo of the Orlando Magic. Ayuso finding Santiago in the post, and on the move across the lane, a foul on the United States.
Daniel Santiago has got tremendous experience at the NCAA level. A couple of cups of coffee around the NBA, now plays professionally in Spain, where he was a dynamic force this year, playing for Malaga on the coast of Del Sol.
And he has some size in that matchup with Chris Bosh to start out. Arroyo saved in play, but to the U.S. And trying for the spectacular setup on the inside. The United States retains possession.
There was a time in international basketball when the alley-oop was illegal. That was wisely rescinded.
And of course, in international play, it's open season on the rim. I mean, it's fair game. You don't have the goaltending.
Which really is an advantage to the quicker players, and the United States certainly has an advantage there with quickness.
It's Lee on the miss, and Paul in transition, knocked away by Lee. A pass intended for Anthony.
2 times the USA has an opportunity at the rim, out ahead of a retreating defense for Puerto Rico, but the pass just a little underthrown both times.
Remember, in international play, we are playing 4 10-minute quarters. And a foul called here on Puerto Rico.
Which is also a recent change. It used to be 2 20-minute halves.
And three-point line. The three-point line is somewhat shorter in international play.
And you only get 5 fouls as opposed to 6 for the NBA. But with the shorter game and with the deep roster that Team USA has, that should not be much of a problem.
That's Carmelo Anthony getting the United States on the board.
Everyone has raved about Carmelo, his work ethic, the level of physical fitness, the skill exhibition.
No basket. Carrying the ball on the way in.
Referee Mark Davis waves that one off.
Ayuso called for the turnover. And now a technical foul has been called on Julio Toro, the Puerto Rican coach. It was Julio Toro who engineered the big upset against the United States in Game 1 of the 04 Olympics.
Ayuso, who played his college basketball, that's an easy play to call. Hard to argue that one, particularly even in an exhibition game.
Carmelo Anthony to shoot the technical for the United States.
That opening round loss to Puerto Rico in Athens was devastating. We did the game in Jacksonville 2 years ago, and Puerto Rico didn't even belong on the same court as Team USA.
And they turn around in 2 weeks, and they pull off the victory. And we visited with Coach Toro before the game, Bill and I, and he was telling us about the triangle in 2 zone defense that he used against the United States.
I thought his first sentence was most telling. He said, "You never show your full hand in an exhibition."
And I thought what was also interesting as Bosch attacks and the ball loose, but a foul called on Puerto Rico. I thought the other thing that was interesting, Bill, was that it's against the United States, so Puerto Rico in possession. Was Coach Toro was saying how he first saw the zone defense with Claire B.
Yeah, well, Puerto Rico has a remarkable basketball history going back over 100 years to when the USA and Puerto Rico would play exhibition matches. Julio Toro, the coach now for 18 years, after a 15-year career as a major player for Puerto Rico.
Vladimir picking up that foul for Puerto Rico, and on the move inside, scored the goal and a foul. No basket by Wade. The other thing that I think Dwayne Wade found out with his international competition in 04 was the spin move and the crossover dribble. You can get whistled for the travel call a lot by the international officials. Nice move by Wade. Now score the goal and the foul.
Of the 3-man refereeing crew today, 2 of them for this exhibition are from the NBA. That would be Bill Kennedy and Mark Davis. Jorge Vasquez, not yet an NBA official. The swipe across the face for Dwayne Wade earned him a trip to the free throw line. And the discipline, the fundamental focus of getting what a player wants.
A good start for the U.S. and a timeout taken with 7:53 left in the quarter.
It's a reflection of you. What you think, what you feel.
And the Gatorade cooler talk around this team. Coach Mike Krzyzewski was asked, which of your players has most impressed you to this point and surprised you? And he said it was Carmelo Anthony.
I didn't know him before, and things that I had heard was that maybe he wasn't as good a practice player, or he did this or he did that, and none of that was true. And all of a sudden, like, he's as hard a worker. I love him. I mean, he and I are developing a great relationship, and so if I had to guess before this, like, me and Carmelo were going to be, I was going to be saying, I thought I'd say that he's good and he's now. I mean, I just love him. I think he can be a very, very special basketball player.
Anthony has scored 4 of the first 6 for the United States. Wade trying to complete the 3-point play, missed the free throw. Puerto Rico handles the pressure and scores as a result. Ayuso with the basket.
Puerto Rico has tremendous quickness in the backcourt between Carlos Arroyo and Larry Ayuso. They have the ability, in the scrimmage that was played here at Thomas and Mack on Tuesday afternoon, Julio Toro went with a 3-guard lineup, and that caused the USA some problems, but certainly not enough to make it in doubt as to who was going to win the scrimmage.
It's Wade on the feed inside. The U.S. with another attempt by Anthony. This one for 3.
Here's that full court press that Krzyzewski wants to use.
And again, a Yuso right to the rim where Lee has it knocked away. But Arroyo controls. Nice move by Arroyo.
Carlos Arroyo, who torched Team USA in Athens for 19 points in that opening round game, really set the stage for what turned out to be a tough Olympics. Again, Arroyo setting up Daniel Santiago on the beautiful slip pick.
A 9-6 USA lead with 6:42 remaining in this first quarter.
Should be a great opportunity for us to see just how good Chris Paul is. Coming off the Rookie of the Year honors. Bosch, who certainly has three-point range, can't find it on that first attempt.
Arroyo being guarded by Paul and now splits the defenders and draws the foul in the process.
Speaking of quickness, the previous possession, Carlos Arroyo right down the lane, no rotation whatsoever defensively, and Carmelo Anthony not able to get high enough to block the shot. The second time, when they try to double team him, he just exploded right through him and earned this trip to the free throw line.
Dwight Howard and Antoine Jamison have come on for the United States as Arroyo hits the first of 2 free throws. 3 points for Carlos Arroyo.
Look for Mike Krzyzewski to use the entire 12-man roster. Unlike what happened in Athens when so many of the guys, 4 of them still on this team right now, got very little playing time.
6 straight for Puerto Rico. They've cut it to 1. Puerto Rico in the zone here.
And this is good for the United States to practice against the zone. Traveling violation. This is what really hurts the USA players because they don't grow up playing against zone defenses. They don't play it themselves. And when you try to exploit it from the offensive end, it really creates problems.
Although they see it now in the NBA, which of course for years that was not the case.
But it's a different type of zone, the NBA zone versus the international zone. There is no defensive 3-second rule in international basketball.
Apodaca trying to get a pass into Santiago, and the U.S. forces the turnover.
Since the opening 2 possessions, USA has not had any fast break opportunities.
Anthony. Nice feed to Brand. And Elton Brand, after he collected the offensive rebound, was fouled.
Elton Brand, one of 2.
I'm sorry, Howard. Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard, who also has been a big surprise. A pleasant surprise and a steady progression that he has made, both with the Orlando Magic and now in this training camp with USA Basketball.
When I watch Dwight Howard, I see the future of big man basketball in the United States. It was Amari Stoudemire, and Amari has a real chance to get right back there being so young. But that operation that Amari had was so difficult. It really takes 18 months, 2 years to get going. But this guy, Dwight Howard, has everything. Size, strength, athleticism, talent, touch.
And with more on Dwight Howard, here's Lisa Salters.
Well, Jim, Dwayne Wade, as he checks back into the game, he was asked of all the guys on the U.S. roster, who does he not want to go one-on-one against? And he said, without a doubt, Dwight Howard. He says he is a man among men. He said he reminds me of a young Shaq. He says, I get to play with the older Shaq in Miami, and I get to play with a young Shaq here with the U.S. team. He says, I just throw it up there, and he slams it down. And he says, I love playing with this guy. Jim?
James, the rebound on the Arroyo miss. Nice look-away feed. And a foul call. Jamison will be on the line.
A transition opportunity for Team USA, which Krzyzewski wants all the time. When you ask all the players who's the most surprising talent on this USA roster, the 2 names that always come up, Dwight Howard and Chris Paul. Is that a goaltending violation? You can take it off the board, you can take it off the rim, but you cannot take it out of the air when it's on its downward arc.
Jamison has his first points as the U.S. has weathered the surge of Puerto Rico after scoring the first 6.
There's a perfect example.
You can do that.
Santiago taking it off the rim. Some of the fans are dismayed by that, but that is a perfectly legal play. Apodaca, Arroyo, and Ayuso have all hurt Team USA with their speed and quickness.
That's Wade off the penetration.
He's so big. He's so powerful. He's so compact, so tight. How do you play against a guy with that much talent at his disposal?
A three-point hit by Apodaca, and Puerto Rico has pulled even. Anthony missing for 3. Howard the rebound.
The USA did not shoot the ball well from three-point land in Athens.
Nice reverse move by Anthony. Carmelo Anthony having a great start tonight.
And Chris Paul finding him beautifully. Chris Paul's passing, he's just so much fun to watch. Contagious. Everybody gets the ball. Everybody starts moving a lot more. Santiago unable to find the range from distance.
It's LeBron James handling for the United States. Now Jamison almost had a bank for 3.
Washington Wizards really one of the up-and-coming teams. Antoine Jameson's squad. Nice split again. And a hard foul by Carmelo Anthony.
Carlos Arroyo will be on the line.
When you make that defensive double team out in front of the point guard, if the defenders put their feet and knees, thighs, and hips together, the guy will not be able to split through them. Let's go back to the free throw shot where Daniel Santiago takes the missed free throw right off the rim. It's hanging up there. You know, in United States basketball, that is an illegal play, but in international basketball, it is certainly well within the rules. And the offensive players can go up and slam it down through as well.
Figueroa has come on for Puerto Rico. Also, Peter John Ramos in the lineup.
And there's more of that size you mentioned earlier on in this telecast. Between Santiago and Ramos, Puerto Rico has plenty of beef up front.
Ramos listed at 7'3".
A longtime fixture on the Puerto Rican basketball scene.
On the rebound underneath, it's out of bounds to Puerto Rico.
LeBron James back in for Carmelo Anthony, who was the offensive igniter early on for Krzyzewski. Can LeBron get it going? Can Chris Paul get something happening in transition? The flow for Team USA has been a little ragged since the opening few possessions.
And so far, their full court pressure has been ineffective. Ramos delivering right there, right at the rim.
Crowd seems a little stunned here at Thomas and Mack. But that is Chris Paul. Just down the lane, the passing ability, the vision.
And it was Jamison on the payoff. Now Arroyo has lost the dribble, and there's a turnover off the press.
Ill-advised pass by Carlos Arroyo. Nice pass there.
Oh, yeah. Paul to LeBron. Arroyo left open for 3.
The USA is double-teaming Puerto Rico in the backcourt, trying to make them throw ahead to big men who may not be as skilled, as versatile as their little guys certainly are.
Ramos getting a block on Bosch, but there was contact.
Julio Toro working his bench. Puerto Rico has been here all week, but it's Chris Paul right now in transition to be able to get in the air and wait for the defender to fly by in an anticipated steal. That little head fake, the shake and bake down the lane freezes everybody, but when you keep running alongside a great player and a visionary passer like Chris Paul, you know you're going to get set up for easy opportunities.
Hatton has come on for the first time for Puerto Rico.
Chris Paul, 4th player chosen in the draft a year ago. Chris Bosh, really looking forward to the start of the NBA season with a revamped Toronto Raptors. They get TJ Ford in the trade from Milwaukee. They get the #1 draft pick out of Italy. They've got Brian Colangelo, who will now remake that franchise in the image of the Phoenix Suns with a Canadian twist to it.
So the U.S. scored the first 6, and right now their lead is just 1. 2:18 for the quarter. Apodaca and a foul on Wade. First foul on D. Wade.
One of the things you always want to establish as Krzyzewski, now in his 31st year of coaching, 26 at Duke, 5 at Army, 22 NCAA tournament appearances in those 26 years at Duke. You want to establish psychological control and dominance over your opponent. And early on, Krzyzewski and the USA, they had that over Puerto Rico in the first couple of minutes, and the Puerto Rican team looked a little stunned. But right now, they're the ones who are playing with the confidence, getting exactly what they want.
Well, the United States down by 1 this trip. It's Bosh trying to work inside, and a foul will get Bosh to the line.
The passing from the perimeter for Team USA between Chris Bosh, Carmelo Anthony, between Chris Paul, LeBron James, everybody moving that ball. That's what Krzyzewski wants. He doesn't want a star system. He wants a team based on egalitarian meritocracy where you come out here and you just work to play to win.
You know, in theory, this is good, but you're talking about guys who are stars on their teams.
But all these guys, Jim, have totally bought in to what Krzyzewski is talking about. And Jerry Colangelo is the guy that sets the tone for everything.
Apodaca rejected by LeBron James.
Team defense. Chris Paul goes for the steal down low. That forces Apodaca to double clutch and allows LeBron to just come in and gobble this up. Send it all back. Wipe it away. That little hesitation that Apodaca has to deal with as Chris Paul swiping down low.
On the turnover move by Ramos, the rebound comes off to Howard. Wade, no basket. Traveling is the call.
Jorge Vasquez makes that call, the non-NBA official here tonight, but that's something that the USA players will have to get used to.
And especially Wade.
Remember in Athens,
Yep.
every play he made, the referees called some sort of violation. He couldn't believe it.
And now it's Wade in the open court. No travel that time. So the U.S. back up by a couple. We're closing in on the 1-minute mark for the quarter. And a foul on LeBron James.
That's a tough defensive assignment for LeBron to try to stay with Carlos Arroyo on the perimeter.
Although the United States feels that, as we see that replay of Wade, that LeBron James is such a versatile player that he can play a lot of different positions, but perhaps more so at the offensive end than the defensive end. It's Hatton missing the free throw for Puerto Rico.
NBA players are not used to the full court man-to-man pressure that Mike Krzyzewski wants. That's much more of an aspect of NCAA basketball.
You know, another one of the aspects we talked about, the differences between NBA and international play. The court at the international level is somewhat shorter by about a couple feet.
Yes. 94 feet even for the NBA, 91 and change for international, but this court is a regulation USA court. They won't play on the shorter courts until they get to Asia. The team leaves tomorrow morning.
Wade on that miss, so the point I'm making, I guess, is that if you are going to pressure full court, you don't have quite as much court to cover.
Take advantage of all the rules. Shorter game, shorter court, different ball.
Deeper roster.
Deeper roster. Shot clock is the same at 24, unlike the college game, which is a 35-second shot clock.
But so far, it's been a struggle for the U.S. They haven't been able to lose contact with Puerto Rico or establish a lead. And Paul fouled here, shooting a three. He was deep in the corner over there, and Paul will be on the line.
It was cute when we were talking with Chris Paul yesterday, and he was telling us about his relationship with Coach K. Chris Paul played 1 year at Wake Forest, and a great rivalry that they have with Duke, although Duke wins almost all of those games. But Mike Krzyzewski, as intense a competitor and fiery personality as anyone in all of basketball, and he would get into it with Chris Paul. And so there was some animosity between Chris and Coach K a little bit because of those games, but now that they've moved on, they're on the same team, they've put it all behind them.
Paul shooting 3 free throws, fouled in the act of shooting a three. The NBA Rookie of the Year, Chris Paul, averaged over 16 points a game for New Orleans, Oklahoma City. Now the U.S. putting the pressure on.
New Orleans, Oklahoma City is going to have a whole new team, and they're one of the two squads like the Chicago Bulls who have really made some off-season moves that have attracted a lot of attention.
Wade couldn't finish off the steal. Apodaca with 9 to shoot. Now he turns it over, and the U.S. has got to run out with Anthony.
An explosion here by the USA. Puerto Rico a little rattled. Carlos Arroyo playing big minutes and now having to work extremely hard just to get the ball over the half-court stripe.
So the United States that opened with the first 6, now with an 8-1 run, back to a 6-point lead in the final seconds of the first quarter. It's a three, and it is good. Apodaca with his second three-pointer. Paul from near midcourt. The first quarter has come to an end, with the United States leading Puerto Rico by 3. They led by as many as 6. And in the first 10 minutes, USA has had some spectacular moments. Welcome back to Las Vegas. Well, Dwayne Wade was a part of the 04 USA Olympic team, and so he's one of the young veterans on this group, and we asked him yesterday who's most impressed him during the practice preparation with this USA basketball team.
If I could pick one player, I'll probably say Chris Paul. You know, I knew that he was a pretty good, talented young player, but just watching him and being able to play with him, he knows the game so well. You know, you forget he's a rookie when he's on the court sometime, just about the way he can pick the game apart. And he has surprised me, and I knew he was good, but I didn't know he was this good.
Chris Paul, who played 8 of the 10 minutes in the opening quarter, 4 10-minute quarters in international basketball right now. The Wake Forest star getting everyone involved. The smallest guy in the court getting the offensive rebound and kicking it out to Carmelo Anthony. Down the lane, maintaining his balance and his feet, increases decision-making, setting up LeBron James. And I asked Chris Paul, because this is a guy with blazing quickness. Yes. I asked him who he thought the fastest players in the NBA were. And without hesitation, he said T.J. Ford, now the new point guard for the Toronto Raptors. But with Chris Paul's new teammates of Peja Stojakovic, Bobby Jackson, and Tyson Chandler, look for New Orleans and Oklahoma City to be vastly improved.
A new group out there for the United States. Battier feeding Heinrich. That's Gilbert Arenas, number 10, and Joe Johnson getting into a three. A missed tip underneath, and the follow won't go. Swiped away. Mike Miller also out there for the United States, number 13.
Santiago is using his experience right now at the international level. Got the size, has the balance, matured physically, has really become a force for Puerto Rico.
Arenas cleared by Santiago.
He intimidates on one side, Santiago, and then rebounds on the other. The hardest thing to do for any big man.
And a turnover down in the post as Puerto Rico was looking for the lead.
USA needs to get organized here in terms of what they want.
Heinrich on the miss.
Heinrich, who has played very well, and his three-point shooting will be critical for this team's success.
That's the thing about international play. It is more of a perimeter game, perhaps, than the American game, the NBA, especially. Santiago gets the basket and draws the foul, so Puerto Rico has taken the lead.
Krzyzewski upset, disappointed, trying to maintain his composure right now, but with the defensive switches, Shane Battier just does not have the size and strength to go up against a rolling Daniel Santiago.
Like Miller on that foul. And Santiago on the line.
Puerto Rico is currently ranked 11th in FIBA rankings. And they received an at-large bid, a wild card bid for this upcoming World Championship starting August 19th.
Johnson getting through, sends it out to Heinrich. Rebounded by Battier. Kirk Heinrich getting the U.S. set up. And now in the contact, it's an offensive foul on Heinrich.
This is a complete reversal of what happened Tuesday, which is the same story that we had 2 years ago, Jacksonville versus Athens. When these two teams played in front of the troops from Nellis Air Force Base just north of Las Vegas here on Tuesday afternoon, it was complete domination by the USA. And right now, Puerto Rico is playing with the poise.
And the trapping defense. Puerto Rico gets free, but Santiago's drive, there's a blocking foul called on Battier. 2 fouls on Battier.
Shane Battier, who played 4 years for Mike Krzyzewski. Shane Battier waiting, sort of moving it. There is no restricted area arc, even though Battier would have been outside of it. Shane Battier with a tremendous opportunity now. Going to go team up with Yao Ming down in Houston. Who
is supposed to be ready for Monday when the United States plays China. Yao Ming is supposed to be ready to play in that game, and certainly will be ready by the time the FIBA World Championship opens in Japan on the 19th of August.
Yao Ming in the news today internationally, along with Wild Aid, Wildlife Protection Organization.
He's not eating the fin soup.
Right, the shark fin soup. He said we got to stop doing that. And that's a real good idea by Yao Ming.
Right now, the United States down by 2, and USA 0 for 6 in the second quarter. A 4-point lead for Puerto Rico as Arroyo delivers.
Organization discipline for Team USA. And all these players accustomed to playing huge minutes now in a limited time, coming in as a unit. They've got to be able to explode the second they hit the court.
Joe Johnson on the move, and a foul whistled against Puerto Rico. Right now, let's check in with Lisa Salters.
Well, Jim, Mike Krzyzewski, one of the first things that he told this team was forget about what happened in Athens, but these guys know they can't really do that. So just in that first quarter, for example, as that first quarter ended, Coach K said, look, I know how much you guys want to win this game. I know how badly you want this, but you're way too excited. We're not going to get the win because we're excited. We have to play steady and don't just settle for outside shots. He said we've got to try to establish some kind of low post presence. Jim?
Brad Miller finally gets the U.S. on the board here in this second quarter. The Puerto Rico team had scored the first 7.
The ball movement for this second unit is exemplary. They don't have the classic point guard that you have in Chris Paul. Heinrich will have a lot of point guard responsibility, but Arroyo right now is just tooling the United States. 3-second violation. Bill Kennedy all over that call.
And the U.S. had Puerto Rico down to 4 on the shot clock before the turnover. That's turnover number 8. Bruce Bowen coming on for the United States.
You know, with the way that this game is going right now, that everybody down in Puerto Rico watching on ESPN, from Ponce to Fajardo to Mayaguez, Vieques, Libra, Aguadilla, they're just having the time of their life right now.
They're watching in San Juan, no doubt. A three-point hit by Arenas. The United States needed that one. U.S. back up by 1. Brand is in, and he's pressuring with Arenas on the perimeter. They force the turnover. That would be 9. Here comes Gilbert Arenas. Elton Brand. 7 straight for the United States.
Puerto Rico is playing a zone, and when USA pushes that ball into the center where you want to attack, that baseline shot for your big is going to be wide open all night long.
As Santiago came across the lane, there's a hand check foul against the U.S.
Santiago is playing a remarkable game. I've been watching him play since he was at University of New Mexico in Albuquerque many, many years ago. Right now, he is looking at the bigs for the United States, the Chris Bosches, the Brad Millers, the Dwight Howard, and saying, can't stop me. He's being set up beautifully by Carlos Arroyo.
You just saw Ayuso returning, and that's Arroyo on the field goal. Arroyo has 13 points tonight. A shot blocked inside by Lee. Right back to Brand. And Brand is fouled underneath.
What team defense by Puerto Rico. They are just swarming that ball. They're not putting a lot of pressure on the perimeter. Challenging the USA to see if they can make some three-point shots. Julio Toro, he's got to be ecstatic.
Bowen gives it up. Joe Johnson. The 2-point field goals are dropping for the United States.
The versatility on the roster that Coach K has at his disposal. You mentioned earlier LeBron James, but Joe Johnson, who can play literally every position.
And the foul is called on Puerto Rico, so the United States will have it when we come back after the timeout. 4:55 left in the half, and the USA up by 3.
Come, Jim.
Time for a McDonald's enduring moment. The first dream team assembled for the '92 Summer Olympics in Barcelona. What a team. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, with some of their other teammates enjoying this photo shoot for the front cover of Newsweek in 1992.
Daniel Santiago, Puerto Rico, University of New Mexico, Malaga over in Spain right now, where they play at the championship level. The international game on display right now. Big men who can think, who can move. Not overwhelming physical talent, but to swipe it off the rim, to move laterally and take the charge against a quicker Kirk Heinrich. And then when he gets the mismatch against Shane Battier, to roll inside and earn himself a three-point opportunity. This guy has become a man and a force at the international level.
And he's helped Puerto Rico tonight to be very competitive with the United States.
Puerto Rico in Group D, which is the United States group for the World Championship in Saitama, Japan, which is about 18 miles from Tokyo.
Now it's Puerto Rico in a half-court trap as they force Bowen into a turnover.
Here's Bowen, the oldest member on the USA roster, which is dominated by guys under 25 years of age.
Galmau, number 9. Ayuso gets into it 3 and left it short into the hands of Arenas.
Santiago again denying every bit of penetration by the USA in the basket area.
Elton Brand on the follow as the ball was knocked out of bounds by Puerto Rico. The United States to come in 23 on the shot clock.
Remember when the game started and it was just wide open up and down and lob passes at the basket? Puerto Rico has really settled down defensively. And their offense is solid enough that they're not turning the ball over a lot. Santiago again.
But it's Bowen who steals the outlet. And then Bowen is fouled in the corner. Arroyo picking up the foul. 2 on Carlos Arroyo.
In this quarter, the U.S. 4 for 13. Puerto Rico, very solid 4 for 5, but they've been plagued by 3 turnovers.
Arenas missing on the drive, but it's followed in. Elton Brand on the follow.
If you're the USA, attack Santiago. Get down the lane, and when he rotates over, which you will every time, just throw it up over the top, and your big should have a wide open throwdown opportunity.
Well, here we go. Santiago working in the post. Can't get Brand to bite. The shot clock at 4. And an offensive foul called here.
Mark Davis right on top of that play. Collapsing USA defense. Larry Ayuso played for Henry Bibby at USC. Graduated 1999.
United States has scored 11 of the last 13. Puerto Rico opened the second quarter by scoring the first 7. And Johnson with 3:25 left in the half. Nice move by Johnson. Count the goal and a foul as the U.S. has equaled its largest lead.
The depth of the United States starting to take hold right now. The ability to come in waves off the bench, crossing them over, leaving everyone out to dry. Not much any defender could do in that situation.
So the U.S. now with its biggest lead at 8. And the perimeter shot missing. The Puerto Rico team had shot it very well early on from 3. Arenas called for the offensive foul.
Santiago one more time making his presence felt.
Timeout taken with 3:06 left in the half, and the United States now with its biggest lead. USA Basketball's Hoops for Troops, presented by State Farm, a 3-year partnership with America Supports You, and will include Team USA showing support for U.S. military throughout the world. Already during training camp, there have been some memorable moments for all involved, and the memories will continue as the team will visit bases in Korea and Japan on the road for the World Championship of Basketball. Some troops here tonight in Las Vegas enjoying themselves in pretty good seats as well. Well, the United States did very well in Olympic play down through the years. The first defeat coming to the Soviet Union in that controversial game in 1972. The Soviets also defeating the American team in '88. Puerto Rico out of the box winning in 2004 in Athens against the United States.
And then Argentina taking it to the USA. And Argentina ultimately going on to win that gold medal.
And the United States got the bronze, but they went 5-3 in the Olympics in Athens. Santiago missing.
The defense here for this second unit that Krzyzewski's employed throughout the entire second quarter has really put the clamps on.
Here comes Dalmau on the drive-in on Heinrich, and then his outlet thrown away as he tried to kick out. That's 10 turnovers for Puerto Rico.
Christian Dalmau, his dad, Raymond, is the greatest player in the history of Puerto Rican basketball. And what a proud moment it is for Raymond to see his son Christian out here now representing Puerto Rico, USA Commonwealth.
Elton Brand has scored 6 off the bench, and the U.S. with a 10-point lead. Now the pressure defense by the Americans, as you see the points off turnovers, a big edge to the United States. Latimer on the miss. Heinrich digs the rebound out. The United States has scored 16 of the last 18. And Arenas nails a 3. But that pressure defense, Bill, is going to have an effect over the course of a game because they're deep and they can keep coming with the fresh players.
They wear you down. Krzyzewski has promised to use the entire roster, something that did not happen in Athens when guys like LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, and Amari Stoudemire, the four holdovers this team, could barely get in the game. But right now, this Team USA, they're playing like the Chicago Bulls are going to play this upcoming season, as the Bulls will become the story for the season with the addition of Ben Wallace and all the different things that Scott Skiles is going to try to do. John Paxson done a remarkable job with that franchise.
And Kirk Heinrich in the lineup right now for the United States from the Bulls. The rebound taken down by Latimer. Just about a minute left in the half.
We have not seen the USA play any zone defense yet. That's Jim Boeheim, one of Krzyzewski's 3 assistants. That's what he will really contribute to this squad.
Santiago nothing doing on the hook, and Battier outlets to Arenas with a throw ahead to Brand, but it's turned over, and Puerto Rico will take it the other way. 46 seconds remaining in the half.
And the 2 Hall of Famers sitting side by side, Krzyzewski and Boeheim. Puerto Rico looks worn down at this point here.
As Arroyo misses, they've scored just 2 over the last 5.5 minutes. But Arroyo the steal on the feed from Johnson.
Once again, Kirk Heinrich's defense.
Again, it's the American team with its quick hands forcing the ball loose, and now the United States will take it down and play for the last shot in the half. Heinrich with 8 seconds. Knocked loose, stolen by Arroyo. And Brand was there to force the miss as the first half has come to an end in Las Vegas.
Supreme effort by Elton Brand, and he is acknowledged and respected by his teammates universally.
Mike Krzyzewski's team finished up scoring 19 of the last 21 in the second quarter, I should say, after Puerto Rico had open play in the second quarter, scoring the first 7. And it was Carmelo Anthony who got the U.S. off tonight early, and he is with Lisa Salters.
Thanks, Jim. Carmelo, you've been hot all night. 11 points for you, but this team is playing you tough. They even led by 4 points at one point. What has been the difference with them tonight?
I try to tell my team that the other night we scrimmaged them. It was a scrimmage game. Tonight is a real deal, and I think the second quarter group did a really fantastic job of just getting after them and getting up and down the court.
But now you guys are up by a good margin. What has changed for you guys? They only scored 2 points in the last 6 minutes.
Defense. That's all we've been stressing since we came in day one, defense, and I think we're doing a great job of that.
All right, good luck in the second half.
Thanks.
Jim?
All right, Lisa, as Lisa mentioned, 11 points for Anthony. He had all 11 in the first quarter. In the second quarter tonight, the United States outscored Puerto Rico 19-9 and 19-2 to the wire. So the U.S. on top by 13 at the half, 48-35 here at the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas. Welcome back to Las Vegas with the United States leading Puerto Rico 48-35 here at halftime. Let's take a look at the Chevrolet game track. Puerto Rico led by Carlos Arroyo with 13 points. Apodaca with 10. He's hit on a couple of threes. 14 turnovers forced by the United States. Carmelo Anthony scored 11 in the first quarter for USA. He leads the United States. They've got 19 points off turnovers, Bill.
All great teams started on the defensive end. The team defense, LeBron able to slap that one away. Shane Battier playing most of the second quarter, comes diving to create opportunities in transition. Gilbert Arenas retreating magnificently. Pressure on the ball. Dwayne Wade forcing Apodaca and the rest of the Puerto Ricans to not even be able to get the ball up the court, resulting in easy opportunities with throwdowns by Carmelo Anthony.
Carmelo Anthony will start the second half on the bench. The United States with Joe Johnson and Heinrich out there along with Howard. LeBron James and Dwayne Wade.
Coach Krzyzewski has continued to warn us not to make anything of who starts.
Another turnover.
Puerto Rico limited to just 9 points in the second quarter right there.
And that's 21 points off turnovers for the U.S.
Pressure defense. They've taken the ball out of Carlos Arroyo's hands, and Kirk Heinrich, who was just a tireless defender.
Latimer making the move across the lane. A foul on the United States.
Kirk Heinrich, who is ecstatic as can be about the addition of Ben Wallace, somebody who can block some shots behind him and really be a great team leader.
You know, when you think about that Bulls team the last 2 years, their defensive field goal percentage has either been at the top or among the top. Wade with a steal, and Dwayne Wade with the run out, and now you add Ben Wallace to that.
They've had the best opponent's field goal percentage in the NBA the last 2 years, while still scoring significantly. They average 98 points a game. This is not a slow-down team. And they go out and they sign the most coveted free agent in Ben Wallace. They have done their job in Chicago.
LeBron James.
Very difficult shot attempt by LeBron.
And Howard kept it alive to Heinrich for three.
And the way Heinrich bounces right back up. Arroyo throws him to the ground there, but relentless in his pursuit of the team goals, Kirk Heinrich.
Hard to believe, but Puerto Rico was up 4 early in the second quarter. It's LeBron. And he'll have a chance to add to it.
The spacing all set up by Joe Johnson. But even go back to the play before that where Kirk Heinrich put so much pressure on the ball. Joe Johnson able to get an easy steal and throw it back to LeBron for the throw down.
The U.S. with a 22-point lead early in the second half. Well, the U.S. with a 22-point lead, and when this one is over, you might say the United States stole one.
It all starts on the defensive end, and in the opening couple of minutes here of the third quarter, it's been Joe Johnson, it's been Kirk Heinrich, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade out in the passing lane, steals, constantly leading to easy transition opportunities, and the defense has not allowed Puerto Rico to score a single point, while the slam dunk exhibition turns nearly into a contest.
That would lead us to our Nike storyline. 25 points off 14 turnovers forced by the United States. And LeBron James, after that dunk, now with a chance to add to it from the foul line.
LeBron, who was just 19 in the Athens Olympics, the same age that Spencer Haywood was when Spencer led the USA to the gold medal in Mexico City. Spencer Haywood, part of the USA delegation here in Las Vegas.
And it's Heinrich collecting the rebound for the United States.
Beautiful passing.
From Wade to James.
Puerto Rico yet to score.
And it's a 25-point lead.
Kirk Heinrich playing with the exuberance, belying his own personal situation right now. Kirk's parents are not going to be able to join the team in Asia because Kirk's grandfather recently passed away in the last week. They're from Sioux City, Iowa, about a 7-hour drive from Chicago, and it's just impossible for the family to break away from the family tragedy with the grandfather passing away.
Finally, Puerto Rico with a field goal. It's now a 31-4 run by the United States, even after that basket by Ayuso.
This was the kind of run that we became used to.
Watch this. Traveling on Wade. You knew that was coming.
But Mark Davis is an NBA ref who has seen Dwayne Wade do this time and time again. Gilbert Arenas, Brad Miller. There's Mark Davis. But speaking of Dwayne Wade and how cool he is, and his jersey, the #1 selling jersey, and reflective of how popular he is, State Farm is the title sponsor for Team USA basketball on this project.
That's LeBron James on that block, but then in hot pursuit, the U.S. called for a foul.
And some of the executives from State Farm are here, including Bob and Linda.
And Riley is also here.
Right. Well, he's checking to make sure.
I don't know if he has any State Farm insurance, but he's here.
Yes.
I know one thing he's got: NBA championship trophy.
For the fourth time.
I mean, he's got the reigning one, the current one.
But Bob and Linda, their daughter, goes to Marquette from State Farm. And she is the biggest Dwayne Wade fan. And at the party last night, she got to meet Dwayne Wade. And Megan is just on cloud nine here as Dwayne Wade signed autographs, and they shared stories of their times at Marquette. What a remarkable human being Dwayne Wade. And to see the smile on young Megan's face. Oh my God, nothing like it on her.
Ramos handles it against pressure, and Arroyo comes to get it. Arroyo draws the foul in the act of shooting, so he'll have a chance at the free throw line. Carlos Arroyo with 13 points in the first half tonight.
But we are seeing Puerto Rico experimenting. Julio Toro, their fine coach. They've been in training camp for 35 days in preparation for this. Saturday they will fly back to Puerto Rico, have a couple of exhibition games against Panama before going straight to Japan.
A team that they defeated in the Central American Caribbean games prior to this competition, and that won the championship of that particular play.
And then Puerto Rico will go straight to Japan and play some exhibition games against Argentina, who is once again a serious contender for the gold medal. The other top teams in this year's World Championship: Spain, Lithuania, Serbia, France, and Italy.
Wade makes the feed inside to LeBron James. And with 8 to shoot, LeBron serves it up lefty.
His ability to finish in the basket area with the left hand, a true inspiration to all young players. Sent back.
But a foul called on the drive by Arroyo.
Krzyzewski cannot believe it. LeBron down low in that with that left hand. Nothing that Vladimir can do about this. The reverse pivot. And when we watch LeBron practice and the way he just constantly uses that left hand, it is no surprise that those go in with great regularity.
Carlos Arroyo delivering from the free throw line. 6.5 left in the third here in Las Vegas. The United States playing its first of 3 exhibition games prior to the start of the FIBA World Championship, which begins on August 19th.
Puerto Rico drops back into this soft, sagging 2-3 zone, just daring the USA to shoot from the perimeter.
Dwayne Wade gets inside. Battier out to James, and a 3-second violation against the United States.
Again, the confusion that the United States players have when they try to attack the zone. Flash somebody up to the free throw line, maybe in the middle of the key even, throw it in high to him, and then let him turn and make a creative pass.
Shot clock at 9 for Puerto Rico. Ramos couldn't get it to go, and on the rebound there's a foul called on the United States. Bosch called for the personal.
Peter Ramos, who at the line right now, spent part of last NBA season with the Washington Wizards. And then when he went back to the Puerto Rican national team, he learned so much from Eddie Jordan and Ernie Grunfeld and Gilbert Arenas, all the different guys there. He averaged over 9 points and almost 10 rebounds a game in the World Championship qualifier.
Dwayne Wade out, Kirk Heinrich back in for the U.S. Well, Ramos makes the first of 2 free throw attempts.
Washington Wizards really in a quandary now what to do with Jared Jeffries, whether they match that big offer sheet that Isaiah Thomas and the Knicks gave to Jared Jeffries, whether Jarvis Hayes is going to be healthy enough to become the star that he was once forecast to be.
Here's LeBron with 11 to shoot, and off the ball we get a whistle.
Shane Battier hammered as he cut through the lane.
Reyes picking up the personal foul. That's his first.
This is Mike Krzyzewski's 9th time being part of a USA International basketball squad. Talk about commitment. We talk about dedication. The same way that David Robinson has the record for 4 Olympic appearances.
Well, what's interesting about the two guys you mentioned is they have that military background. Scottie Pippen, he's been a past Olympian, including with the Dream Team in '92.
What a collection of NBA and Olympic history here this week. Clyde Drexler, Spencer Haywood, Kiki Vandeweghe, Ernie Grunfeld has been here. Scotty, Dr. J. Magic Johnson has been here most of the week. Paul Silas.
Well, Lenny Wilkins and Chuck Daly, past coaches for the United States.
Pete Newell, who was the coach of the 1960 team. Rudy Tomjanovich is the scout for this year's squad after coaching the '98 World Championship team in Athens, and then the 2000 team down in Sydney, Australia.
I want to talk about that job that Rudy T did in '98. That was the year, you'll remember, that the NBA was in lockout. And he took a team comprised primarily of CBA players to Athens.
And you know who was on that team?
They played great.
Well, they took 3rd place.
Yep. Here's a blocking foul called on Heinrich.
And Heinrich, with the great class that he always displays, and the court just gets up and walks away, and the stoicism of Mike Krzyzewski belies the inner turmoil. You know who was on that team in '98? Brad Miller, who was able to play because he was not drafted by the NBA. Heinrich appears to be in perfect position. There's Rudy Tomjanovich.
Apodaca scoring his first point since he had 10 in the first quarter.
And now with the technological advances and the scouting capabilities available to Team USA, this squad should be much better prepared than Rudy's teams were. But actually, Rudy's team had a scare in the 2000 Olympics in Sydney against Lithuania. They had a game-winning opportunity. Nice tip away, Ramos.
But right back inside to Wade, and as he got behind the backboard, there's contact. Ramos called for the foul.
George Maloof on the right, Gavin Maloof on the left. A couple of the kingpins here in Las Vegas and in all the business world. Will they re-sign Bonzi Wells along with Al Harrington, the 2 marquee free agents still out there?
The Kings you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Kings. And the excitement here at Las Vegas with the All-Star game coming here next year. This is going to become a destination for so many of the NBA family members.
Oh, Ramos missing the dunk. He tried to throw it down with tremendous strength, and it's Battier who's called for the foul. 4 fouls on Battier.
You only get 5 in international competition, and Shane hasn't played that much. Didn't play at all in the first quarter. Really tough when they call a foul on you when you get elbowed across the face.
Yeah. Peter John Ramos. 7'3", 290. Rebounded by Bosch. The U.S., by the way, will be playing 5 exhibition games prior to the start of the World Championship, but only 3 of which will be televised on ESPN2 and ESPN.
starting with China
on Monday.
And then Brazil after that.
That's no basket.
When we talk about Brazil, our congratulations go out to Leandro Barbosa, who will be the point guard for Brazil's team. He just signed a 5-year contract extension with the Phoenix Suns.
9:30 p.m. Eastern, U.S. and China on ESPN2.
Now if the Suns can just get done the contract with Boris Diaw, they should be set for many years to come.
Heinrich missing the three. Figueroa with the rebound.
Suns owner Robert Sarver here in attendance tonight, as is Deputy Commissioner of the NBA Adam Silver.
And with 3:48 left in the third, let's check in with Lisa Salters.
Well, Jim, I want to go back to that questionable blocking call that was called against Kirk Heinrich. And you saw how he just nonchalantly got up, didn't argue the call, and that is his way. But it's also something that Coach K stressed as soon as these guys got into training camp. He said, yeah, we want to win, but I also care about how we conduct ourselves overseas. There will be no showboating. There will be no arguing with the officials. So the fact that Kirk Heinrich just got up and just took the call and kept on playing, that's something that Coach K wants to see. Jim?
All right, and on the drive here, an offensive foul called on LeBron. Coach K not happy with that call.
Speaking of the conduct on and off the court for the USA players, yesterday at the hotel, the players LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Carmelo Anthony were filming the promotions, the public service announcements, the pledges that promises outstanding behavior at all times on and off the court.
You know, we talk about how Coach K doesn't want the United States team to showboat and so forth, but yet they're NBA players. I mean, this is their job, and to entertain the fans has to come into play. I mean, they're worldwide figures. Everybody all over the world watches NBA basketball.
He has made some concessions. Remember the story yesterday you're telling us about in the meetings when at Duke, he certainly does not allow any of the players to wear hats or anything like that. And so when he came into the meeting and there was a number of the players wearing their hats, he looked around, he looked to Mike D'Antoni, to Nate McMillan, assistant coach.
Excuse me, Bill. Oh, yeah. Dwayne Wade with the steal and slam.
And the salute. Acknowledging the sacrifice of the thousands of members of our armed forces who were here tonight at Thomas and Mack, mostly from Nellis Air Force Base.
Back up to a 25-point lead. Figueroa. Howard the rebound. And Joe Johnson sends it out to Battier. It's a three for Battier.
That short three-point line should be a huge factor. 9-0 run right now for the USA. And Julio Toro for Puerto Rico is standing over there with his hands on his hips saying, well, this is an exhibition game.
Here goes Wade again. Underneath is Howard.
Overwhelming performance here by the USA.
11 straight and a 30-point lead. We've got 1:18 left in the third.
It was the defense in the second quarter that really opened this up and blew it away.
Heinrich called for the foul. Chris Bosh returning. Battier goes out.
Shockingly enough, in the 14 World Championship of Basketball tournaments that have been held, the USA has only won the gold medal 3 times. Yikes. As opposed to the Olympics.
Well, in the early years, though, the United States, I don't want to use the expression they didn't take it seriously, but, you know, teams that were sent to represent the United States certainly weren't the best. Even perhaps of the amateur players, they weren't the best.
Well, in the first ever World Championship of Basketball tournament, 1950, held in Buenos Aires, Argentina won and defeated the United States. 7 U.S. players fouled out in the championship game as the USA was called for 38 personal fouls. The USA finished the game with only 4 players on the court.
Howard Well, they're really looking for each other now. Everybody trying to find a teammate with a better shot.
Well, Puerto Rico led this game by 4, 33-29. With 6.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Since then, it has just been an unbelievable blowout, 48-14 run for the USA.
United States with this 30-point lead as James sets up Joe Johnson for three, make it a 33-point lead.
Penetration, dish, set up teammates for wide open slams, the lobs, transition off turnovers, fabulous defense.
Apodaca.
And the chance of USA rain down from the rafters here at Thomas and Mack.
Oh, there's a hard foul. Wade called for the foul. And Santiago goes to the line.
Pat Riley and his wife enjoying this action.
And what was his first instruction to Dwayne Wade prior to coming here?
Don't get hurt.
And then we asked Wade yesterday when we had that time to sit down with him, is it possible for him to get hurt? We've seen him, get himself into compromising situations. He tumbles, he hits the floor hard, he runs into the basket support, he runs into other players, but he doesn't seem to get injured, seriously enough anyway, to miss a lot of playing time, and he nails a three. As the third quarter has come to an end, and it is hooray for the red, white, and blue.
This has become a clinic of defense leading to dunks. Gilbert Arenas initially, Dwayne Wade throughout, Dwight Howard, LeBron James, and then Dwayne Wade time and time again. This is beautiful basketball.
Over the
USA with a 35-point lead, outscoring Puerto Rico 35-13 in the third. LeBron James, of course, a part of the 04 Olympic team in Athens, and yesterday we were able to ask him the difference between that group and this one.
I think with myself and Carmelo and Dwayne, we have a whole different mindset. I know all three of us felt we should have had a better opportunity on that 2014, but things happen for a reason. And now we're the face of the team. So, we got to use our experience that we had in 2004 and just try to better our team and better ourselves.
One of the great lessons of life learned by LeBron James so early on, never look back. And the just suffocating defense right now for the USA. LeBron, 8 second-half points after quiet in the opening quarter. These guys are not going to play a lot of minutes. So that they've got to realize that with the 12-man deep roster that they'll ultimately have in Sayatama, that they've got to make the most of every second that they're on the court.
Foul called on Puerto Rico. Now, as you see the lopsided score with the USA on top, remember, and we talked about this early when we first came on tonight, Bill, that the USA beat Puerto Rico in Jacksonville in an exhibition game, their first time out. Anton Jamison connecting back in 04, and then Puerto Rico turned around and beat them the first game of the Olympics.
That game in Jacksonville was not as close as this game. Puerto Rico was just absolutely demolished. And the USA did not have Allen Iverson and a couple of other players who were disciplined that game because of tardiness. But right now, Julio Toro realizes full well that we're not showing our complete hand. They haven't played Santiago that much after a very impressive first quarter. They have not collapsed into that zone defense.
Hatton on the miss, but he runs down the loose ball. The shot clock at 10. Here's Santiago. And when Santiago has delivered, he's delivered just like that, right at the rim.
Jim, one thing that we learned from that last exhibition tour before Athens was that the opponents did the USA no favors. they didn't play international basketball. They played NBA basketball. So the USA showed up in Athens, and they were not ready. I do not anticipate that to be the case this time around.
That three-point hit by Carmelo Anthony, his first point since the first quarter. And now a blocking foul called on Anthony. So Anthony with a 14-point game working. LeBron James taking it in from the side. Talking with Dwayne Wade.
With the team USA leaving for Hong Kong via San Francisco and ultimately getting to Guangzhou for the exhibition games against China and Brazil will be. We can only hope that the typhoon that just passed through the Philippines heading toward Hong Kong right now is not going to be a factor in the travel plans.
Which finds this team leaving very early tomorrow morning. Well, the stop in San Francisco before continuing on. Dalmau completes the three-point play. Puerto Rico, as Bill mentioned, will return to Puerto Rico, play Panama a couple of times.
It's going to be very difficult for Krzyzewski to narrow this roster down 2 more spots.
14 on the roster now. That's an offensive foul called on Dalmau.
But what Jerry Colangelo did, this is the best move that they've ever had in international basketball, which is have a pool of guys so that you don't get devastated by injuries or life-changing circumstances that always come up.
And maybe we should mention, too, because we haven't yet so far tonight, no Kobe Bryant.
Kobe was here Tuesday at the scrimmage.
Right, but I mean, this team won't have him because he opted to go for the surgery this summer. But, you know, in the next cycle, in the Olympic cycle, they'll have him. So now you add him to this group.
And he's a really good player.
Yeah, I've heard.
I've seen it. An offensive explosion here. Looks like the typhoon has already hit Puerto Rico. But Kobe Bryant, whose operation was not expected, Dr. Stedman performed that, and Kobe told us on Tuesday that he's feeling really good and excited about getting back. With the addition of Vladimir Radmanovic to the Lakers, will that be enough to put them over the top?
Jamison on the miss, the ball out of bounds. The U.S. will have it with 15 on the shot clock. The United States on its way to naming its own final in their first exhibition game. Arenas finds Miller, and Brad Miller delivers.
Brad Miller, perfect for the international game. The touch from the perimeter, the ability to handle the ball from the high post. It's not the bang-bang game that we're used to in the paint area of regular NBA basketball. But with the USA not having won the gold at the World Championship tournament since 1994, 12 years ago when it was coached by Don Nelson.
And those were the games in Toronto. And not only that, but coming up with a 6th place finish in the 0-2 games at Indianapolis. 6th in the world. And you see the United States coaches, Mike Krzyzewski, Jim Boeheim on your right, Mike D'Antoni on your left. Nate McMillan is there. Santiago.
But 2 Hall of Famers, 2 of the brightest young minds, 2 Hall of Famers from the collegiate level, Boeheim and Krzyzewski, and then Mike D'Antoni and Nate McMillan is outstanding. Their creativity, their relationship as former players.
And Mike D'Antoni, of course, with a lot of international experience, having coached in Italy.
Benetton, Treviso, Milan. Mike D'Antoni voted at one time the greatest point guard in the history of Italian basketball. Well deserved. There was not even anyone else considered for that honor.
Chris Paul. But this is the game that still has been considered America's game. Basketball, and this is the team that is going to try and take the United States back to the top of the world mountain in the world of basketball.
But for the first time, now you have players from the international ranks who would make the top 12 spots of an all-world team. Guys like Steve Nash.
How about Dirk Nowitzki?
He would make it. Yao Ming would have a chance.
Tony Parker.
Tony Parker. All of these guys will be participants inside Atomic Japan, and as will Pau Gasol.
How about the guy with the gold right now, Manu Ginobili?
San Antonio, no one ever talks about it, but this is a team that, even though they've changed the bottom half of their roster, R.C. Buford is here.
They take like 1 year off, right, between their championships. I don't mean they take it off, but
no, but it's been difficult
they
for
can't
them.
get it done back to back.
It's been difficult for them to do that. And had it not been for an ill-advised foul on Dirk Nowitzki, that 7th game, very well could have and probably should have gone the other way.
That might be one of the greatest games in NBA history. People overlook the fact that not only did the road team win a Game 7, which doesn't happen that often in the playoffs, but they unseated the defending champ in the process, and it was overtime. Pretty nice there as Miller finishes it off, and the U.S. is up by 38.
And now with the new rule changes just announced by the NBA, that matchup of the two top teams now will not happen theoretically until the conference final.
Right.
And the expanded playoff rosters for the NBA rule changes, the shorter timeouts.
Patton on the 3. Arenas comes back and tries to answer, and he's fouled on the 3. So Gilbert Arenas gets 3 free throws.
Great crowd here tonight at Thomas and Mack. 18,218, a sellout. As will the All-Star game when they come here this February.
Gilbert Arenas getting the first of 2. Arenas.
To show you how far Gilbert Arenas has come, how far the Washington Wizards have come, they are opening up ESPN's NBA schedule this year. Washington at Cleveland, a rematch of one of the most exciting playoff series where every game came right down to the very end. LeBron, Gilbert Arenas. LeBron going up and telling Gilbert, you better knock these free throws down because I'm coming back with the game winner right here. Gilbert missed them both. History was made.
Gilbert doesn't miss any of the 3 there. So it's a 101-62 lead for the U.S. Martinez fouled on the way in. Miller called for the foul. And Martinez goes to the line with 5:34 left. Well, in 40-minute games, of course, that's the difference between the NBA and international play. In the NBA, you play 48 minutes. You go over 100 points in a 40-minute game, you're doing something.
But the rules of the international game, like the college game, are designed to allow the underdogs to have a greater chance. Shorter game, shorter court.
All smiles on that USA bench.
But when you have a performance like this, rivaling what the 92 Dream Team did when they averaged winning by 43.5 points per game, or how about the 94 Toronto World Championship team that won their games by nearly 38 points a game. Shaq, Reggie Miller, Joe Dumars, Kevin Johnson. That was a squad.
And Carmelo Anthony will be on the line. Jerry Tarkanian, the former UNLV coach, talking it over with Clyde Drexler.
And I can just hear Jerry right now saying, Clyde, you come with me. You come with me to Las Vegas and I'll make you a player. They're playing right here tonight on the Jerry Tarkanian court. Jerry and his
running Rebels.
Charming wife Lois, the kings of this city for so many years.
And of course, all the great coaching successes that Tarkanian had. The one thing he probably remembers most about his career, and I don't necessarily mean coaching career when I say this, is the opportunity he had to work with one Bill Walton and yours truly on the CBA Finals. We'll remember that, won't we, Bill?
Was that 1991?
Somewhere in there. No, I think it was 93.
One of the great broadcast teams in the history of television.
A great feed inside to Miller, and a foul will get Brad Miller on the line. Martinez picking up the personal foul for Puerto Rico. A timeout taken. All USA tonight in their first dress rehearsal.
Crimson's brought to you by Adidas, AOL.com, EA Sports, Hands-Free, Nokia, T-Mobile, and Toyota.
103-65. USA up big here in Las Vegas against Puerto Rico. Time for the Sprite play of the game. And can you say thank you very much?
Can you say quench your thirst for entertainment here? LeBron James with a remarkable throwdown of a great setup by Joe Johnson. And then Dwight Howard, the future of big men in all the lands. Dwayne Wade, the present and the future. That is your Sprite plays of the day. There's a lot of talent sitting over there, just icing him down. A staple of every athlete in the world of competitive athletics these days.
Is that a scene that we'll be seeing a lot of in Japan during the World Championship? USA icing it down late in the game with a big lead.
They've got a tough bracket.
In their Class D, they will in that field. Besides Puerto Rico, they'll have China, Italy, Senegal, and Slovenia in Group D. 5 on the shot clock. But Puerto Rico is 11th in the world, right?
Yes. And they were given the wild card at large berth for this tournament. But it was certainly the last time these two teams played in Athens. The greatest basketball accomplishment in Puerto Rican history.
Bowen has yet to score tonight. The only U.S. player with 4 minutes remaining who has not scored.
Because that game in Athens, game 1, was not a miraculous, unbelievable, undescribable. Peter Ramos
turned away by Elton Brand, but a foul.
Because Puerto Rico routed the USA. Beat them by 19 points, and Carlos Arroyo, Ayuso, all the guys just absolutely embarrassed the United States. Julio Toro, the mastermind there, as he's been the uninterrupted head coach of the Puerto Rican national team since 1999 in his long-time coaching career.
So the U.S. with Paul back in the lineup. A couple more guys finished for the night. Jamison came back in. And Arenas handles.
Gilbert Arenas has played very well. The backup guards, Arenas and Kirk Heinrich, have opened up this game.
Paul on the miss. About 3.5 remaining. Figueroa.
One of the things that all the coaches have told us about Chris Paul is that they have been impressed with his perimeter shooting, something that has been suspect.
And his defense isn't bad either. There's Arenas unloading the 3, and it's Bowen battling for the rebound. Finally dug out by Ramos. Galmau. As we close in on the 3-minute mark, Hatton running the show for Puerto Rico. Latimer ready to return for the Puerto Rican team. Another steal by USA. Jamison. A 42-point lead. Early in the second, Puerto Rico was up by 4.
A stoppage of play here to allow the injured player to get off the court here.
With 2:37 left, let's check in with Lisa Salters.
Well, Jim, as we've already said, these guys on this team had to make a 3-summer commitment. So I asked Bruce Bowen, I said, you've got 2 rings already. You make millions. You're the oldest guy on the team. What's in it for you? And he just looked at his jersey and said, these 3 letters right here, USA. He said, it's not just about San Antonio. It's not just about any one city. We're doing this for the homeboys in Fresno and for the guys in the burbs in Buffalo, New York. And I said to him, think about this, Bruce, that you went undrafted in 1993. Now you've got 2 rings and are playing on the U.S. national team. And he said, I am living the American dream. Jim?
Well, let's get him a couple points here, and then all the U.S. players will have scored in tonight's game.
You could put Brad Miller in that same category.
Yep. Jamison.
Jamison, in the 2 days leading up to this game today, he's been spending most of his time with the starting unit in practice and running through all the drills.
What is the starting unit? That's my question.
It will change, according to Mike Krzyzewski.
I've got a couple names that I think will start every game.
Well, I would say that LeBron and Dwayne Wade.
Well, probably Carmelo also. Those 3 would probably start every game.
And I like that lineup. You put those 3 guys with Chris Paul, and then you got a big guy, Dwight Howard, Chris Bosh. That is a squad.
Timeout with 1:37 remaining. Welcome back to Las Vegas. The United States up by a ton, and the NBA draft class of 03 very much represented and represented very well on this USA team with LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony. You can add Chris Bosh to that. You can add Kirk Heinrich. That 03 draft, pretty good, Bill Walton.
Outstanding, and now Darko Milicic getting his opportunity to play as Orlando will move back into the upper echelon of the NBA with Carlos Arroyo and all the different guys they've got going.
Saturn X Center coming up live from Los Angeles when we're finished here. Heinrich and Wade finish for the night. 1:37 left.
As we watch these closing minutes, I can just think back to our meeting with Krzyzewski and all the different things he said which have played out today. The chemistry and the morale, how important that is. Have a horizontal playing field where everybody has a collective attitude of the team first. The unifying force of the national team, we saw it on display with the Hoops for Troops program in Nellis Air Force Base on Tuesday. They're all back here again tonight, trying to reorganize under Jerry Colangelo with a disjointed nature that USA basketball has become. And Krzyzewski wisely has not tried to put in too much. You've got Jim Boeheim with his own defense expertise. You've got the Phoenix offense and Mike D'Antoni.
But the other thing, Bill, is that the U.S. is making a commitment to how the game is going to be played. In recent cycles, be it Olympic years, World Championship years, the international game, the style has been dictated by the other countries, by the international style of play that we call it. You invert the floor, the big guys come out and shoot from the perimeter. Now the U.S. is saying, no, we're going to reestablish how this game is to be played. And it's going to be played with athleticism. It's going to be played pressuring the ball the length of the court, forcing turnovers, and getting out into the open court. Look at this. Carmelo Anthony on a super setup by Chris Paul.
Every time I watch Chris Paul walk onto the basketball court, I see something new. This guy has got it all, and he's got personality. He lights up any group dynamic that he's part of.
And you know the other thing that's great about him yesterday, well, I don't know how it was for you, but it was the first time that I had met him. He looks you in the eye, he shakes your hand. You know, when you ask him a question, you know, he answers it. He engages you in conversation.
He's got everything, including the daunting task of being the youngest guy on the team. Looking as he comes up the court, he's got LeBron on one side, he's got Dwayne Wade on the other side, he's got Carmelo Anthony, and they're saying, hey, bring it my way, and he's got to make the decision.
It's a standing ovation here at the Thomas and Mack Center as the remnants of a sellout crowd of 18,218 liked what they saw in Mike Krzyzewski's USA basketball team tonight as USA routs Puerto Rico 114-69. What a performance by the American team here tonight. Don't forget the Saturn X Center coming up next. The USA forcing turnovers and running away from Puerto Rico to cruise.